Why fast trading keeps most traders broke. There is a moment every trader experiences, but almost nobody talks about it. It usually happens late at night. The room is quiet. The lights are low. And the only thing glowing in front of you is the chart. You're staring at it. Not because there's a perfect setup. Not because your system says it's time to trade. But because something inside you feels like something has to happen. You feel restless. You feel impatient. You feel like today has to be the day. The day something finally changes. The day the losses finally stop. The day the account finally turns around. And in that moment, your mind starts telling you a story. Maybe if you just catch one good move, everything will change. Maybe the account will recover. Maybe the losing streak will finally end. Maybe this will be the trade that proves you actually belong in this market. So you enter. And for a brief moment, it feels right. Your heart starts racing. Price moves slightly in your favor. Your brain instantly begins calculating profits that don't even exist yet. You imagine the win. You imagine the relief. You imagine finally feeling like you understand the market. But then something happens. The market pulls back. Your stop loss gets hit. And suddenly the problem isn't the trade anymore. The problem is what happens next. Because most traders don't slow down after a loss. They speed up. They take another trade. Then another. Then another. And before they even realize it, the entire day becomes a battle against their own emotions. At that point, the trader is no longer executing a strategy. They're reacting. They're chasing. They're trying to fix the feeling of losing. And this is exactly where most traders lose their accounts. Not because their strategy failed. Not because the market is impossible. But because they couldn't slow down. And the brutal truth is this: the faster you try to make money in trading, the longer it usually takes to become profitable. The painful truth: most traders believe they're losing because they haven't found the right strategy yet. They believe the problem is technical. Maybe the indicators are wrong. Maybe the entry timing needs improvement. Maybe the strategy itself isn't good enough. Maybe they just need a better mentor, or a better system, or a new indicator. But in reality, most traders already know enough to survive. The real problem is something much harder to admit: impatience. The market punishes impatience more consistently than almost anything else. Think about it. How many times have you taken a trade not because your setup appeared, but because you were bored? How many times have you entered a trade early because you were afraid to miss the move? How many times have you moved your stop loss because you felt like the market was about to turn? Those decisions rarely come from strategy. They come from emotion. And emotion is extremely expensive in trading. The market doesn't care how badly you want to win. It doesn't care if you've had a rough month. It doesn't care if you feel behind in life. The market only rewards one thing: consistency. And consistency requires something that most traders struggle with: patience. Not patience for one trade. Patience for months. Sometimes patience for years. That's the uncomfortable reality of trading. Wealth in the markets is rarely built quickly. It's built slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. But because slow progress feels boring, most traders abandon it before it ever has a chance to work. Why fast trading feels good? Fast trading feels powerful. That's why it's so addictive. When you're constantly entering trades, you feel productive. You feel engaged. You feel like you're doing something important. Your brain interprets activity as progress. But activity and progress are not the same thing. Fast trading gives you something else too: dopamine. Every time you enter a trade, your brain receives a small chemical reward. The possibility of profit triggers excitement. And excitement can be intoxicating. It creates a rush. It creates energy. It makes trading feel alive. But here's the dangerous part. Your brain starts chasing the feeling of trading instead of the results of trading. You begin trading for stimulation rather than probability. You open the charts the moment you wake up. You check price constantly throughout the day. You watch every tick, every candle, every small movement in the market. And without realizing it, trading becomes less like a business and more like a video game. You're no longer focused on probability. You're focused on action. The problem is that markets are not designed to reward emotional stimulation. They reward discipline. They reward structure. They reward traders who can sit still when nothing is happening. And that ability is extremely rare. Most people would rather feel busy than be patient. But patience is where the real edge lives. The hidden cost of speed-fast trading doesn't just cost money. It creates damage in ways that most traders never notice. The first cost is emotional exhaustion. When you take too many trades, your brain becomes overloaded. Decision fatigue begins to build. And as fatigue increases, the quality of your decisions decreases. You start seeing setups that aren't really there. You start convincing yourself that risky trades are good opportunities. You start forcing the market to make sense. And forced trades are usually expensive trades. The second cost is psychological trauma. A few large losses can completely change how a trader sees the market. They become hesitant. They hesitate on good setups. They exit profitable trades too early. They second-guess their own strategy. And suddenly the trader isn't executing anymore. They're reacting. The third cost is instability. Fast trading creates an equity curve that looks like chaos. One big win. Two big losses. Another win. Another crash. It feels exciting. But excitement is not the same thing as growth. Real growth looks boring. Real growth looks steady. And that's why so many traders never reach it. Because the boring path doesn't feel exciting enough to follow. To traders, to futures imagined to traders. Both start trading at the same time. Both have access to the same charts. The same strategies. The same information. But their approach is completely different. Trader number 1 wants fast results. He checks the charts constantly. He trades multiple times every day. When he loses, he increases risk to recover. When he wins, he increases risk because he feels confident. Sometimes his account grows quickly, but it also crashes quickly. After a few months, he becomes exhausted. He starts switching strategies, trying new indicators, joining different trading groups, searching for something better. But the real problem was never the strategy. It was the speed. Now look at trader number 2. This trader moves differently. He trades one session. Sometimes he takes one trade. Sometimes none. He risks a small percentage of his account. Losses don't scare him because they are expected. Wins don't excite him too much because he understands probability. He journals every trade. He reviews every mistake. He improves slowly. At first his progress looks unimpressive. But something interesting happens after a year. Trader 1 has reset his account several times. Trader 2 has quietly built consistency. And consistency is what eventually turns trading into wealth. Final message: most traders believe success in trading requires speed. But the truth is the opposite. The traders who move the fastest often fall the hardest. Because speed creates mistakes. Mistakes create losses. And losses destroy confidence. The traders who move slowly build something far more valuable. Control. Control over their risk. Control over their emotions. Control over their decisions. And control is the real edge in trading. So the next time you feel the urge to rush, remember this. The market isn't paying the fastest trader. It's paying the most disciplined one. And discipline moves slowly. But over time, slow trading builds something that fast trading never can. Real wealth. Most traders believe they are losing because they lack strategy. But the real problem is something far more dangerous. Speed. Fast trading feels productive, exciting, and addictive. But it quietly destroys accounts. In this video, we explore the psychological trap that keeps most traders stuck in a cycle of losses. And why the traders who move the slowest are often the ones who build real wealth. If you're serious about improving your trading mindset, this video may change the way you see the market forever.